We're talking today with Jackie Gerstein. Jackie, could you just briefly introduce yourself and what it is you do?
Oh, I'm Jackie, and I've been an educator. I think I was born an educator, but most of us do. And I say I don't do teaching for a living. I live teaching as my doing, and technology has increased my passion for doing so. So that's my byline, and I love being a learner. And with we were just saying a few minutes ago, with all these connections and being able to talk, just the informal learning potential is amazing. And when I teach I used to teach gifted elementary school, and now I teach online college students. I just try to give them the tools to go out and be learners, because it's just all there. It's just sitting there, letting us grab whatever we want to learn, and it's pretty amazing time to be a teacher and a learner.
You you mentioned what we're calling connected learning, and you've been active in the connectedlearning.tv webinars that we've held, and I noticed that you had a pretty substantial blog post about connected learning. What is it that excites you about it?
Well, it's looking at, and it said looked at Mimi Ito's and Dana Boyd's work, and people, like I just said, people are learning informally on their own, and they're finding experts, and they're looking on the internet, and they're connecting naturally. And if they want to learn something, people have, especially young people, they're going out and taking the initiative. I want to learn skateboarding. I'm going to go online and find some skateboarders, find some communities, find some videos to teach me, and to bring those. And it's not being brought into the more formal education systems. So kids are saying, literally, I can't wait to get out of school so I can go learn something this afternoon. And that makes me sad, because they know how to do connected learning. So when I saw that initiative, I saw it at the Digital Media Literacy conference. I was there, and when they introduced that, I got so excited, because, as you know, Mimi's leading that up, and they're saying the kids are doing it anyhow. How could we make this so adults understand and what's going on, and how can we bring that in to make people are natural learners, and now we have the tools to do so, and and it's amazing that schools aren't taking advantage of that. So I know. Go ahead.
This sounds like what you're calling user-generated learning.
Right.
How do you think schools can take advantage of it?
They need to get out of the way. I call one of my favorite sayings is, as an educator, I'm a tour guide of learning possibilities. I show them the possibilities, and then I need to get out of the way. A lot of times educators stay in the way, and it turns students off to learning, and they literally go whatever, and they check out. So there's someone said, and I love this saying, that kids are dropping out of school, but they're still physically there. And they do. And that bothers me, because I want kids, and my gifted kids used to say that, saying, oh, is it time to go already? Oh, I don't want to leave now. And instead of running for the door, we have everybody, including college students, when it's time to go, they can't get out of there fast enough, and that breaks my heart.
I like the way that you have a very practical classroom teacher experience approach, but you also think in very big terms. Is this a little bit what you're talking about when you talk about universal design for learning? What do you mean by that?
Actually, that's an official movement, and it means that we need to design learning experience so all students can and will and want to learn. All students, no matter what. I think we all have disabilities. We talk about some are identified, some aren't. We were just talking earlier, I'm not a very good auditory learner, and so I can't, when people try to give me directions auditorily, I'm like, especially like processes, I'm like, I can't do this. I can't grasp. You need to draw it for me, show it to me. And so it's designing learning so that every student has the opportunity to get it. And we're not doing that.
In your experience, what advice would you have for educators and practitioners about how to start going about doing that?
Well, you talked about, going back to connected learning, there are pockets of innovation. And we look at numbers, and that doesn't teach us anything. Look at case study approaches. I know you're trying to do videos. So if I was teaching math, or I teach teachers, So if a teacher was teaching math, I'll go, here, go look at, I'll give them some resources of some math teachers' blogs and videotapes who are doing it hands-on, and I'll say, look at how they're doing it. We have visual and video case studies, so there's so many out there, and I know that's one of the goals of Connected Learning is getting an archive of those. So teacher are going, oh, I want to teach classic literature, how can I make that more exciting? And there are people who are doing plays in front of the classroom or are doing Skype calls to great writers. So I mean, so I'd say we have the greatest resource. Educators love to share things, and they're putting it online for free. You just have to go find it, and it doesn't take much effort to go find it. It's there. We have so much case study example out there.
Well, Skype or Google Hangout are great tools. Yeah. I increasingly am Skyping in or hanging out with classrooms, and it's usually been college classrooms, but now we're beginning to see some high school teachers bringing people into their classrooms, literally inviting the authors of some of the texts that the students are reading to come in and spend 10 minutes or a half an hour with their students. So we do have the opportunities to make those kinds of connections now that they certainly didn't have in my day when I was a student. So
you know who Carl Fish is, the teacher?
Yes. He has a blog called The Fishbowl, I think, right?
Yeah. I watched, and talk about your example. Last year he had Dan Pink Skype in to his junior high students. All of them had read his book. They had prepared questions. I get chills talking about it. They had prepared questions ahead of time, and Carl had it being broadcasted on live stream, so anybody who wanted to watch can. Daniel Pink spent 2 hours with these kids, addressing their questions, asking them things back. I mean, talk about an authentic learning experience. They read a book that had, a whole new mind, that had relevance to them. They prepared questions ahead of time. He asked them questions back. He spent 2 hours. You know that they're going to remember that experience for the rest of their lives.
That sounds like passion-based learning, and I was particularly interested in your blog post about the 3 different flavors of PBL. What did you mean by that?
What is it? I forgot the middle one. Play, passion, and project. Yes, play, passion, and project. You put those together, and it's going to be very successful learning. You can't lose if you have those 3 elements.
I think most people understand being passionate about learning. How do you bring play into the learning process?
Well, the newest blog was the Tinker and Maker Education, and I just wrote that last week. It's getting a lot of press, as it should. It's the experiential learning. I don't come from a formal ed. I come from outdoor and experiential and environmental ed because I didn't like what was going on in public schools, and now I'm trying to bring that into public schools, because you put a kid in a stream, or you bring out Tinker toys, or you put them on some fun game online, and they are playing, and there is no issue about engagement because it's a natural. That's what I mean about we destroy the natural learning process sometimes by making it what we call formal, which is really just boring didactic. I never learned that way. I don't think most people, I'm surprised. I always tell teachers, you know the saying, they teach the way they've been taught. I say create classrooms that you wish you had when you were a kid. And that's always, I don't care if I'm teaching graduate school or third graders, I never stand up there and lecture for more than 10 minutes. I can't. I bore myself. And so even when I taught in a lecture hall with 300 students, after 10 minutes I go, okay, get with 5 people around you, and I'd have paper origami or toys or something. I'll say, here, let's try this, and come back and report to me what you learned. It's not that hard. I tell teachers, just do one thing. Just take something you've done or that you like that's hands-on and bring it in the classroom and just see the reaction. And you're going to, don't try to change everything if you don't know how, but bring it in a little bit at a time, because I don't know a single discipline that you can't include an experiential component. And that's the play.
I was very interested in the blog post you wrote on the flipped classroom and experiential learning. And how would you respond to the teacher who says, well, I'm not much of a hobbyist, and I don't make a lot of things. How do you get them to do experiential learning and bringing making into the classroom? And how do you flip the classroom in those cases? I know for college students, you can put your lectures online and expect them to see them, and then have activities during the day. How do you flip a classroom in the lower grades, in the elementary school classroom?
First of all, I tell, because I do teacher education, and this sounds kind of crass, but I can't help saying it. It's not about you, it's about the kids. So if you don't like it, okay, don't bring in things you hate. I had a friend who hated the sound of paper bags, so she never brought in, brown paper bags, crunchy. I said, don't use those type of materials. Use something. You could bring out markers and paper if that's what it takes. And for me, for the younger kids, when I did teach it, I had 8, I had a full computer programs with 8 extremely old PCs in my class and internet connection, period. And they did such amazing activities. So you can have them watching the videos, as I talked about in the blog post. The videos support the learning, they don't drive it. And I think sometimes still in the flip classroom, they're just, and Kathy Davidson talked about this, it's still doing the traditional model, that the content's still driving it. So what, that the lectures are online? Who said it yesterday? It's like they call it interactivity because you can pause it, the button? No. And so the videos support the learning. And when I do give the resources to my college students, it's a list. It's not you have to watch this one video. I say here's maybe 10 resources, video, interactive websites, text readings, and then they have to be accountable when they write blog posts or reflections on referring to some of those resources. So they have to make intelligent conversations, like you were saying earlier about my blogs, how I reinforce with other materials, with videos, with links to other people's articles. I ask the same of my college students. So that's where the accountability comes in, but it's not this particular video. I'll say these are ones I like, and if you find other ones, add them to community, and that's the connected learning there. And with the kids, I'd have them go on the computer and watch the same thing, have a list, but I'd have it during class time. I think folks are getting nervous, and I don't blame them. I'm saying watch them at home. For me, Flip Classroom, I'm trying to just jump on this bandwagon to get the pedagogy changed. And I don't believe kids should be doing all this stuff at home anyhow. Let them go out and play. But then I'll say, we just learned something, and go, hey, you can learn some more about it. Here's some video. Why don't you go watch it? And get them excited. So they want to. Not that, I don't think, and I think you'd agree, no forced education is going to help people learn. If people feel like they're forced to learn something, unless they're really interested in it, they'll do it because they're being forced to, not because they want to. And I know we could all attest to how much we forgot that was taught to us in our K, especially as we got older. You notice how it gets more lecture-based and test-based as we got into college. I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to be different when I got to college, and I was just as bored as when I was in high school.
What kind of activities would you suggest to engage students around watching a video?
While they're watching it, you mean?
What would you tell them before about what to do, and what might they do during and after?
So hopefully, like I was saying, like I wrote about in the Maker workshop. So I had Pico Cricut kits in my gifted classroom, and they're little robotics kits, and so I get them excited about tinkering with those robotics kits, then have options of videos to show what other kids have made and other projects. They want to watch the videos then. So through experiential engagement, they have a desire to learn more, just like we do. We test something out, and then we go, oh, let's go see what other people have done. You know, I learned ceramics, and then I go online and watch the professionals throw pots. We see, I hear about you talking about net smarts, and I want to go read some more. I actually like listening to you. So like I watched your talk at MIT, which I loved. So just by getting some little bit of exposure. I wanted to go watch more, and that's what our job is, to be facilitators of learning, not you have to watch this. If we force kids to watch videos that they're not interested, they're just going to go through the motions anyhow, and that's waste. I think that one of the biggest travesty, especially in K-12 education, and I get angry about this, is we steal people's time. I'm mad that they made me sit there hour after hour bored. They stole part of my life, and I don't want that to happen to kids. It really is stealing of somebody's life when they're forced to do something that they don't want to do.
You know, I'm reminded of the quote that is often attributed to Yeats, that education should be an igniting, not a pouring.
Right, right. Now I don't understand. I'm totally baffled. I never taught traditionally. I'm totally baffled now with all these tools that teachers are still standing up in front of kids. I don't understand, because there's so many more exciting ways to learn. I have no idea why they're still doing it.
You know, that seems like a great place to stop. We got to keep these videos short. I love to talk to you, Jackie. Thank you so much.
Got me talking about my passions.